It's funny the things people assume about us. People see me and they're like, Kaylin, you're naked on YouTube all the time. You're so comfortable in your body. You seem like such a confident guy. You must be having lots of sex, right? You must be having sexual partners right and left. And the truth is no. If you've been watching my YouTube channel for a while, you know that I'm very, very happily married. Me and my partner have been together for almost 10 years now. And though we technically do have an open relationship, it's very, very rare that either of us act upon it. In fact, it's been probably about 2 years since the last time with another person. And don't get me wrong, a big part of that is because I really love my husband. I'm so deeply attracted to him. And I think that he is a very fulfilling and wonderful, not only regular partner, but also as a sexual partner. But it's also something more than that. Because over the years, I've started to adopt a label that kind of feels right for me. And that's the term demisexual. Demi means half, so half sexual, but it's not quite what it means. I have a very vigorous sexual appetite. As those of you who watch my videos on the spiritual aspects of masturbation. No, instead, this means somebody who needs emotional connection. They need to feel a sense of cherishment, maybe even love, but certainly respect and bonding with another individual in order to be able to enjoy a sexual experience. And I can tell you there are numerous times where I've pressed into my boundaries, where I've put myself in uncomfortable situations because I see so many other guys out there able to freely enjoy sex. Right and left, they're just throwing their legs open or taking their dicks out and going to town and seemingly really enjoy themselves. And there's this message we have that as men, we should be able to be sexual and virile and willing to fuck whomever or whatever crosses our path. But it's not emotional, it's just an act. But I don't feel that way. For me, sex is a deeply emotional, connected experience, and I like it that way. I like that sex feels sacred for me. And when I've tried to push myself into situations just to see if I could do it, I've ended up disassociating, leaving my body. I've ended up having tremendous anxiety. And so today I want to talk about my experience with demisexuality. In case any of this resonates for you, it might be a little helpful for you on your journey. So hey guys, if we haven't met before, my name is Kaylin. I'm an ecstatic spiritual life coach. I help people come home to themselves, live a more integrated life, blending all of their parts, their shadowy parts, their sexual parts, their spiritual parts, and seeing them as a collective whole. We need all those parts in order to be a full human being. So on the topic of demisexuality, over the course of my life, I've identified as many different things. I identified as asexual for a while during my collegiate years and early 20s. I thought I identified as straight for a little bit. Bisexual, gay, pansexual. All of those have come into play because my experience of sexual desire and sexual connection is not very straightforward. It's not easy to define. So for example, something that's become very clear to me is I love flirting. I love the titillation of, am I into them? Are they into me? Ooh, they're looking at me, we're talking, maybe we're touching my hand to their shoulder or their fingertips to my chest, and that's really thrilling. I love knowing that I'm desired. I love the feeling of somebody that I'm into is also into me. It feels very validating and very, very titillating. It gets my juices flowing. But then something happens to me as soon as we move into more intimate contact. As soon as there's something more sensual, more intimate, maybe full body contact, maybe kissing, maybe something more overtly erotic, I shut down. Unless I feel really safe and comfortable and connected with this person and I genuinely respect them and think they're an amazing person. Now here's where I put my own personal bias out here. I generally think you should only be having sexual experiences with people you respect and genuinely like. It is an intensely energetic, connective experience, and you are going to be exchanging more than just fluids and cells with this individual. You're going to be exchanging life force. And so is this somebody whose life force you really want to be mingling with? Some spiritual traditions say that once you have a sexual experience with someone, they remain connected to you for at least 7 years. And so do I want those strings attached to me? A good rule of thumb that I felt seemed pretty wise is Mantak Chia, who many of you know from his books like The Multi-Orgasmic Man. I've talked about him previously on this channel, especially in my video on becoming multi-orgasmic as a man. And what he says is that it's actually very good to have sexual experiences with other people because sexual energy is connected to our life force and it can be tremendously healing. But it is only good if those people are individuals who will elevate your experience. They're good people. They've got a positive vibe. They've done healing work on themselves. They're approaching sex in a conscious, mindful way. But he says if you're only having sex with not quality people, people who don't have those qualities, people who are unconscious of energy transmission, who don't practice a lot of energetic or emotional cleansing, then it's better to not have sex with other people. Because sexual energy is quite powerful. We often see the destructive side of sexual energy, how it can cause trauma, how it can make people be kind of fucked up for quite a long time after an experience that was unwanted. But we seldom talk about the other side of sexual energy where it can be profoundly healing and transformative. I know that I have been healed a great deal by my lovemaking, particularly with my husband, who's made me feel so adored and cherished and loved and embodied. I am a much better person because of the sexual energy we have shared. And so I find it difficult to find those other individuals with whom I really want to get that intimate. Because let's be real here. You are placing a part of your body inside someone else's body, or vice versa, sometimes both. Even kissing, right? You're sticking parts of yourself into another person's orifice. And I think in today's world, many of us are longing for connection. We feel so isolated and so alone and so invisible. And so what can be more intimate than physically entering or being entered with another person? And so I think we sometimes use it as a substitute for genuine emotional intimacy, for finding that connection on a more platonic, more friendship, a more loving level. And so we rush right to the physical things so we feel less alone, so we feel seen, so we feel valued, so we feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. But I do think sex is an intimate act. But many people disagree with me. I had an acquaintance of mine, somebody who I've hung out with a couple times in a friendly manner, who wanted me to stoop them, say, well, yeah, I remember when sex felt like it was something intimate, something special. But if you just do it enough, it stops feeling that way. You can then just have anybody fuck you. And I don't want to be judgmental, but I was taken aback by that because I want sex to feel special. And I had the pleasure of meeting somebody who is a pretty well-known porn star, very, very sweet guy. And I love that one of the things I saw him post on his social media account is every single person that I've had sex with has made an impact on my life and has changed me in some way. And I'm so grateful for those experiences. And I love that. I love that for him, it was a meaningful form of connection. And that just goes to show, right, it's not about the number of partners we have, it's what we bring to it. But as a man in our society, it's hard to feel like, I'm sensitive, I'm emotional, I'm easily affected by these things. And maybe my feelings about this come from past trauma. If you've watched my channel, you know that I grew up in really difficult circumstances. I grew up being pretty much tortured by my peer group and bullied relentlessly. So I know I've got my own stuff around touch and being valued and being seen. So that might be a big part of this. But I want to think of sex as sacred and meaningful. And I am very lucky that I have a partner who makes me feel beautiful and sexy and seen, and I love the touch experience with them. So maybe I have nothing to complain about. But as a nudist, as a sex-positive person, as somebody who shares my own personal sexual life, not only in conversations here on YouTube, but on OnlyFans and Twitter, I feel this pressure to do more. People often say, why can't I see videos of you topping? Why can't I see videos of you doing these sexual things? Why can't you do collabs? And I just say it doesn't feel good in my soul right now, at least. Maybe at some point it'll feel differently, but for some time now, that doesn't feel good to me. And so I share all this in the hopes to say, maybe you feel somewhat similar. Maybe you feel in some way like you're broken because you can't behave in the way society tells you you should as a man. Because I do sometimes feel like I'm broken. There's something wrong with me that I just can't fuck like everyone else does. And if that's you, I want to say you're not alone. There not only is me, but there's plenty of other people out there who feel similar. And if you are reticent to engage sexually with others, that's okay. And if you want to approach your sexual life different from what you see on Twitter or in porn or on OnlyFans, that's beautiful. There is no right or wrong way to create a life. There's no right or wrong way to create partnerships and community and connection and romance. You've got to find what works for you. Please know you're not alone, and there are others on similar journeys. And so I hope me sharing a little bit about my struggles and perceptions with this has helped you in even some small way. Thank you for taking time to listen to me today. If you want to have more conversations like this, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. I always love to talk to people one-on-one and offer any insights or share some stories. And if you want to work more directly with me, I also offer in-person retreats. We've got our next one coming up for New Year's in Vermont. We'd love to see you there. You can also give me a follow on Patreon or any other of my social media sites. And if you have anything else you would like to add to the conversation, please do drop a comment below. I do try to read everybody's comments and I respond to as many as I can get to when I'm able. But sending you guys much love, much blessings. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day, week, month, year. I know you've got a champion rooting for you. Peace and love, guys.